Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Romeo Planning Commission for November 4th, 2021. We're going to begin tonight's meeting with a public hearing on the rezoning of the two properties, 15355 32 Mile Road and the vacant lot at 32 Mile Road and Powell Road. If you have something to say, please stand up, say your name. You can say where you're from, don't give the address, not these days. So let's begin. Anybody have anything to say on the first property? Go ahead.
Do you want the property applicant to say something? Or you just taking
Anybody
comments
can
from-
say anything they want during a public hearing, so
Only if you want a presentation, or is that later for under new business?
no, that's fine. I think that's okay.
Speak, yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, yeah, the podium. Go green. Good evening, Justin Danaskis with Danaskis Consulting Development. On behalf of the applicants here and their stakeholders in the property, as you can see, we're going for a rezoning tonight. This rezoning is kind of unique in the sense it's almost the initiation of zoning, in the sense that these parcels were recently added to the village tax rolls. And so tonight should be relatively straightforward, hopefully in the sense that it's very natural to rezone this to industrial, as not only is all the parcels in the village surrounding the site industrial, basically everything east of Van Dyke, as you know, is, but also as we look north to Ray Township, everything is owned industrial around it. Even to the south in Armada Township, everything is owned industrial. And so certainly it conforms with the surrounding uses. Any other use may be arbitrary to kind of what's going on with the characteristic and so forth. So now that these parcels are essentially now coming into the municipality, it's a chance to make them conforming with the surrounding zoning areas, not create a spot zoning with some other zoning district, and kind of bring it to conformity with all the zoning districts right on that corner around it.
And which property are you speaking to? The first
Sorry, we'll
one?
speak of both if that's okay, because they're two separate applications, but both the one on Powell and 32. So Sitwell numbers, sorry, both the parcels under the first
Okay.
item. So both the 15355 32 Mile Road, as well as that vacant lot at 32 Mile Road and Powell Road. Really, my comments are consistent with both. Again.
Okay, that's fine. Anyone else have anything to say?
I have a question for you, gentlemen. Just
Hold
speaking.
it. Zach, Mr. Fowler.
Yes, not you. Z's good.
Mr.
Thanks.
Fowler, you're not during this portion.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
No speaking no questions from the commission.
All right.
It's a minor thing, but,
I noticed there on the.
wait, why are
the
you still?
commercial-
What he say hold?
Oh,
Hold until, you can ask that question later,
gotcha.
okay?
All right.
All right, so someone rose their hand. Go ahead.
I guess I'm standing back here. So my name is Alex Choi, from Gentlemen's Dugan Parfait. I'm an attorney for Ms. Sandy Rewalt. I just want to make some public comments on this. Ms. Rewalt does not oppose the rezoning. However, she would like to let the record reflect that she owns property east of the property in question and alongside the East Pond Creek. I printed out some bird's eye picture here if you would like me to circulate this so you get a better idea, but we just want to make sure that her property does not get affected by the rezoning.
Okay, you have something to distribute, or?
Yeah, if you would like.
That's, yes, this is. Is that all you have to say while you're?
Yes, sir. We just want to make sure the rezoning though does not affect her.
Okay, would anybody else like to make comment? All right. I got you. All right, if there are no further comments, then we'll move on to the regular part of our meeting. And we'll begin with roll call. Cindy,
Stegner,
here.
Fowler,
Yes.
Grandstaff,
Here.
Here. Smiles,
Here.
Stevens,
Here.
Bolts,
Here. Okay, we will move on to approval of tonight's agenda. Anybody want to make a motion?
So move.
Second.
Second, motion on the table to approve the agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, Cindy.
okay.
Approval of the meeting minutes for October 7th, 2021. I'll make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Jay? Motion on the table to approve the meeting, minutes of our last meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous, Cindy. And now we move on to public forum, which is much like the hearing, but, public hearing, but you can comment on anything you like. Does anybody have any comments they'd like to make? Okay, no. So,
Caroline.
Yes, hang on.
well, somebody does.
He's hiding.
Oh, that's right, okay, I remember.
Yeah.
You're hidden.
Hi, my name's Caroline Miller. I work at the Village of Romeo as assistant to the clerk, Catherine Trapp. Catherine unfortunately has been out ill all this week and has asked me to read a statement for her. First of all, thank you for your interest in the Village of Romeo for your future business. At this time, all submitted applications are going through a careful review process. The process of the special land use, as outlined in the ordinance, is only one step of many in the application review process. The review team is working very closely with the village's legal counsel to ensure every step we take is accurate and consistent with the ordinance. This is an unprecedented time for allowing marijuana business licenses within our industrial district. Village of Romeo is very much looking forward to this new opportunity, and thank you for your patience as we continue the application review process.
Okay, thank you. So, let's move on to the first item on the agenda, the rezoning proposal. Mr. Casson, would you like to make some comments, please? Mr. Casson is our urban planner.
Good evening, everyone. The request, as Mr. Danakis had indicated, is for property that was recently annexed into the village from Ray Township. The property, when it was in Ray Township, was industrial, consistent with the surrounding areas of Armada Township, Ray Township, and the Village of Romeo. It goes back to single family once it's annexed, and so they're requesting rezoning to industrial. When we review rezonings, we typically look at two things: the master plan and the compatibility of the area. The second one is totally compatible. The surrounding area is all industrial. The master plan is kind of a moot point right now because our master plan doesn't reflect property that wasn't in our village. So, but the surrounding master plans, if you look at the other surrounding communities, it does list it as industrial. In that regard, I offer no objection to the proposed rezoning. It makes a lot of sense. I'm recommending approval. The only caution that I might add is that the submitted plan, the development plan, which is just giving you an idea of what the property can be developed like in the future, may be a little bit idealistic given to what the county lists as potential floodplains and wetlands, and I provided you with a map there. So I just want to caution the planning commission and the developer that unless there's reviews, and I'm sure the developer knows that, the reviews by the state of Michigan in terms of floodplain and wetlands, the planning commission can't approve any development unless we get the okay from them.
Mr. Fowler, did you want to ask your question?
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay, so,
I'll make a motion to accept the rezoning from residential to
um,
R1 residential to industrial.
before you do that, let me ask Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark, do we have to vote on these individually? Or should we
I would vote on them individually. They're separate parcels. I believe they're separate requests. And just so the record is clear, in case a commissioner may object or want to vote one way or another on each parcel, I would recommend doing that as to each.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead and make your motion, but one only to start.
So we're gonna do each symbol number individually.
That's my recommendation.
So I would still hold that motion, and so how do you want to do this? Read out each one?
So, yeah, we'll do them one at a time. Make your motion for the first one, and then,
All right.
Be the second one.
There are only two parcels.
What do we
right?
call them the first, what do
Right.
we call them the second?
The first one is
So I'm looking at 016,
15355.
226016, 226017. These are the ones over here, right?
no.
Where am I? Oh. Thank you. All right. The motion to rezone 0506100009.
A second now.
Okay, motion on the table to rezone, which one did you do, 0506?
Yes. 100.
The one
Okay.
that ends in 009 is the one you just put the
Correct.
motion
Okay,
for.
I see, you went from the bottom, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
The next motion would be to rezone from residential to industrial 0506100010.
Second.
Second. Okay, motion on the table to rezone 0506100010. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that's unanimous. So both of those areas are passed. So now we move on to the special land use regarding the marijuana now.
Aye.
Go ahead, sir.
Are we in any way going to make stipulation that we are waiting for county approval because of the wetland or floodplain?
I don't
We're just
think
having-
that's necessary.
You handle it at the time of site plan approval.
Yeah,
Okay.
until there's a site plan, then. So regarding special land use, Mr. Clark, do you want to speak to that now, or both you and Mr. Cass can speak to that?
I can if you want me to.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
It's my understanding the applications for special land use that you have before you are incomplete. And by incomplete, I'm not saying that the submitters and the submissions are trying to withhold anything or obscure information or anything like that. My statement that they're incomplete comes from the ordinance, the village's zoning ordinance. The zoning ordinance, Article 9, specifies the special land use approval process. There are two aspects to it. Substantive, what is submitted, which includes, I believe, a site plan, and then there are additional documents that you can ask for or require for review. And all of that should be before you at the time that you consider whether to grant or deny the special land use application based on the standards that are provided in the ordinance. The second aspect of it is more procedural, and that is a notice requirement. And the ordinance specifies the notice requirement, to whom it is sent, how it is sent, if it's published, and so forth, the timing of it. And it's my understanding that maybe one or more of the notices for one or more of the applications may not have been published or properly stated. The notice requirement may be deficient. And so on substantive grounds with respect to you having before you the information necessary to properly consider an application, and the procedural basis, the possible lack of proper notice, I would suggest you entertain a motion among yourselves to table these until you have everything before you so they can all be considered properly under the requirements that are in your ordinance.
Okay, Mr. Casson, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, Mr. Clark and I spoke this afternoon, and I concur.
All right, so I believe we probably, under the circumstances, need to table any discussion tonight about special land use until we get all the information before us, which we do not have.
I'll second that.
So I'll make that as a motion, and Mr. Fowler, you second.
Yes.
So,
Can I ask a question before you get?
sure you can, of course.
I know the council said that site plan was, was one of the components, and then the notice. We submitted a site plan, I'm sure some of the others did. Do you know which notices were deficient, related to which applications?
I do not.
Okay. So are we just gonna?
Mr. Casson,
I do not.
Contact our clerk, she should have the information for you.
Okay, thank you.
yeah, that information will be at the office. Okay, so where were we? We had a motion to
Second by
table,
Fowler.
second. So that's what we have before us, to table all of the rezoning, or not rezoning, I'm sorry, special land use applications until next month.
Are there any questions that we want to add into that table before we actually
Sure,
close that
if
out?
you want to ask questions.
Well, I guess my question is on this, the footage, how are we measuring this and who is actually going to measure this? If each pond's got all these different addresses on there, am I going out there with a wheel and trusting
No.
me? How
I
are we
think it's
doing?
measured by satellite, is that correct?
Okay, is that entry to entry, is that corner to corner?
Well, we haven't seen any maps yet,
Well,
so,
whether I see a map or not, I still need to know that answer.
Chairman, may I?
sure,
There
sure.
was a preliminary, and I say preliminary analysis that was done based on the county aerials, using their app that just shows measurements. So we have a good idea of what the general measurements are.
Okay,
In talking to the president, Christine Mawson, today, she, I believe, is going to be requesting the village council to hire, so that we get this right, to
Right.
hire some sort of a survey company to determine the exact measurements between property lines.
okay. So your answer to that question is there's a map out there and you say we, that's not us. Someone has it, just not here in planning
So
commission.
there is a map that I pulled off the internet with dimensions that I provided to the village clerk.
Okay. And then the other part of that is you're just measuring property distance, so it's property to property? You're
It was
saying-
from the closest
Yes.
point of the property to the property, the nearest point of the next property.
Okay,
But again, they were very general.
Your ordinance requires property line to property line.
property line to property line, okay. Because property lines butt up to each other.
Well, but you also have a distance. The measurement, when I say property line to property line, those are the measuring points, the beginning and ending.
Okay,
That's stated in the ordinance.
fair enough.
Okay, the motion before us is to table the special land use request until next month. All in favor?
Aye.
So unanimous, Cindy.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. All in
Second.
favor? Who second? I'll second that.
Okay.
Aye.
Motion passes, everybody. Just gonna get on.